Hello there! Welcome to the Raiding Guide, a resource for learning how to get past the first couple of difficulty modes, so LFR and Flex if this is Mists of Pandaria, or LFR and Normal if this is Warlords of Draenor, and into progression raiding. My name is Tuskeh, and in this video we're going to discuss mastering your class. Now, it's not too difficult to pick up on the basics of a class. The spellbook comes with a small section named Core Abilities that helps with learning about the basics of a class and spec. But every class in World of Warcraft has a pretty large skill ceiling, allowing for quite a lot of fine-tuning. This is something you'll want to think about a lot if you intend to raid. Of course, I can't go over every class and spec in this video because A, I don't know every class and spec, B, it would take far too long to do so, and C, there are much better resources for learning about classes in detail than I could ever put into this one video. We will discuss these resources in a bit though. So, mastering your class. One of the first things you'll want to do is plonk yourself down in front of a training dummy and start doing your rotation. If you're a tank or a healer, you'll have to do this the hard way by jumping into an LFR or a Flex, but my point stands that the first and best way to master your class is to practice it, over and over and over again. While you do so, try to make some mental notes, or even real notes, about what is going on. If you're a DPSer, then watch for times when your cooldowns finish at awkward points, and figure out what the best solution to this is, perhaps using an ability earlier or later, or figuring out which of the cooldowns that clash is the most powerful, get the most out of it and try to be optimal. If you're a tank, double check and make notes of all of your cooldowns and make sure you're getting full use out of them. Time them with spikes of damage to keep yourself healthy and make your healers' lives easier. If you are a healer, make sure you're using all of your healing cooldowns per fight. There's no reason to leave a healing cooldown unpressed throughout the duration of an encounter, so try to figure out exactly what you're going to do next, and think ahead to when the next damage spike is going to be. You need to know these fights, you need to know when the damage is coming in, and you need to have something ready for it. Of course, as I have said before, all roles must have a knowledge of the encounters they'll be going up against. Knowing fights intrinsically will make your life easier, regardless of your role, because you need to know how your class, your spec, and your way of playing mix with the design of any given fight. With each class and spec having its own unique style and design, it's important that you get as much knowledge about your class, spec, and role as you possibly can. Double check guides about your class and spec. You can find links to Icy Veins, which does written guides, and Mike Preachwow, who makes video guides, in the description below. Go through everything from the ground up, and make sure you're playing your class optimally. It's important that your bedrock of knowledge with which to build on is solid, so double and triple check that you're not making any mistakes. When your rotation is muscle memory, it is very difficult to realize any mistakes you may be making. Aside from reading guides, make sure you find other sources of information for your class and spec. Find forums dedicated to each class and get involved with sub-forums about your spec and role. A good way to find these kinds of places is to just search on Google for your class guide. For example, when I was learning about Elemental Shaman, I found Totem Spot, which is a forum dedicated to Shaman. If you have any questions about your spec or you can't figure something out, then ask on forums like these. Other players and their knowledge offer some of the best ways for you to learn. Another great way to learn more about the intricacies of your class and spec is to follow the people who play them at a professional top level. A fair amount of the top raiders stream, and they may or may not answer questions from their live chat depending on the situation, their mood, and their personality. But I found that one of the greatest ways to learn about the advanced aspects of my class was the Final Boss TV live stream. They have videos of each of their live streams, which sometimes include discussions with some of the top players for each spec. All of these are available on YouTube, on demand, and they are really informative. It's all about the class, all about that specific spec. It's great. Just search for Final Boss, then the name of your class or spec. I'll also include a link to their channel in the description. Well worth watching. When it comes to general tips I have, one of the most important ways to master your class is to learn to be able to maintain your damage, healing, and tanking capabilities while moving. Every class and spec has a way with which to mitigate the damage that movement does to their rotation. Instant cast spells, spells that can be cast while moving, things like that. Some classes are better at this than others, but being able to figure out how to tank, heal, and DPS on the move is very important. Never just be moving. Always do something while you're moving about, or you'll just be a waste of space during that time. Next, make sure you have good key bindings set up. I'll include a link to a couple of guides about key binding in the description, and I may make one of these of my own in the future, but just know this. Make sure that you have all of your important abilities bound to a key that you can press easily, and never click on something important. It takes way too much time. If you click most of your abilities, I would very much recommend moving towards key binding. It's a difficult process, yes, but unless you're an incredibly skilled player with very quick reaction times, you will lag behind someone who uses key bindings, and you won't make the most of your skill. Similarly, make sure you also have a good user interface setup. You can easily play this game with the default UI, you do not have to make a custom interface, but make sure that you have information available to you. Always use a raiding add-on like Deadly Boss Mods or Bigwigs, both of which are linked in the description, and make sure you can see the space around your character nice and easily. You need to know what's going on. If you ever struggle to find information that you need on the fly during a fight, then you'll want to consider changing your user interface about to present you with that information better. You can click the annotation on screen now to go to my custom user interface guide, which goes about the basics of setting up a UI from scratch using various powerful add-ons. Additionally, you can also find this link in the description. Remember, while you're doing all of this, that it is important to experiment. Experiment with your rotation, your stats, your gear, your user interface, your key bindings, the way you move. Everything. Question it all. It's very easy to just keep going and doing the same thing over and over and over again. And if you do the same thing repeatedly, you're eventually going to start making mistakes. Find as many ways to experiment as you can. Find solutions to any problems your class may be faced with. As long as it works for you and the raid team, then nothing else matters. At the end of the day, the boss has to die, and anything you can do to help with that will be of a huge aid to your raid. All of this said though, it's important to keep in mind the most important part of mastering your class. Always, always try to get better. No matter your role, no matter how much you raid, it is vital that you push yourself to perform better each and every time you enter a raid. If you let yourself start to slip up as you raid, you'll start performing worse and worse, and it will be noticeable. Be passionate about your class and role, and if you're struggling to get into it, then absolutely re-roll. Never be afraid of starting again if it means you'll play a class you love. This being said, make sure you're a responsible player and that you don't screw everything over, but this is a game and you are here to have fun. It helps so much more if you can play a class and a spec that you enjoy. Experiment, try out new things, and have fun. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you have any thoughts, make sure to leave a comment below and like or dislike the video. I'm always after feedback, so let me know what you think. You can contact me using the links in the description, or just leave a comment. Make sure you subscribe to catch my videos as soon as they come out. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you the best of luck with your raiding in the world of Warcraft.